Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Mr. Fitness, the body transformation specialist, and in tonight's episode of Weight Loss Warriors, we're going to be speaking with Katrina. So in just a few moments, Katrina is going to come on and share with us her awesome weight loss story. She's going to share with us everything she's done up to this point to get absolutely great results, and I'm sure if you follow what she says, you'll get the same type of results. Who knows, maybe even better. So if this is your first time here to Weight Loss Warriors, I want to welcome you. But if you've been here before, welcome back. On Weight Loss Warriors, our main goal is to motivate, to inspire, and to encourage you to know that you too can do it. So again, in just a few moments, Katrina is going to come on and share her weight loss journey with us from start to finish and where she plans on going in the future. But if you've missed any of the past episodes and you'd like to get caught up, head on over to youtube.com/fitnessmotivation4u2. That's fitness motivation, the number 4, the letter U, the number 2. There you can check out every single past episode of Weight Loss Warriors, plus some other really good content. And while you're there, consider subscribing and hit that bell notification. Also, if you've got a weight loss story that you'd like to share and you'd like to do it here on a future episode of Weight Loss Warriors, and you're watching this live, go ahead and DM me. But if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link down below in the description, and let's talk about getting you on a future episode. And last but not least, before we get Katrina on, if you like this, make sure you ask questions. She's going to be here to answer all your questions tonight. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, make sure you get them up on the screen and we'll get them answered. So with all of that being said, let's see if we can get Katrina on the show. Let's see. Coming on in just a few moments. And again, guys, if you guys do have any questions during the course of the interview, make sure you put them up on the screen and we'll get them answered. I got all my questions. There you go.
Hi.
How's everything going tonight?
Hello. I'm good. Except for this, my hair.
No way, your hair looks fine.
I've been running around. I'm a mom of 2 really busy boys, and so I'm really glad that we were able to connect and make time to do this interview, and really excited to be here.
Definitely. So, we're going to spend the next, 35, 40, 45 or so minutes talking about where you've been, where you're at now, and where you're looking to go, and everything in between. So guys, again, if you have any questions, make sure you get them up. But I have a whole bunch of questions, so let's get this interview started.
Awesome.
So my first question is, what's your current weight?
My current weight is 170.
Okay. So what was your starting weight?
So my starting weight, my highest weight was 282 pounds. I'm 5'7", just for reference. Mm-hmm. And I would still say I have like a larger build. Like I just looking at my shoulders and things like that. Like I don't know. I'm built to last. I don't know what to say about that. It's my, my Greek Spartan, warrior woman background. So, but yeah, I would say my heart weight was 282. But when I decided to really make like a life-altering decision for myself and never go back, I was at 266 at that time. Okay,
that was your pre-surgery weight.
My 266 was when I met with my doctor, and then my day of surgery weight was 244.
Okay, so what's your goal weight?
I would love, it's just in my head, I would love to be 155.
Okay.
There's really not 159.
Well, what does that 155 represent to you in your head?
So when I was 19, I was a theater major at the time, and I was dancing a lot. And it was funny because I was wearing a size 10 at that time. And now I wear a size 6 or 8, but I weigh like 20 pounds more. So I don't know, maybe there's some muscle stuff going on. But that time I was 19, I was dancing all the time. I felt like, like I felt good about myself at that time. So I kind of always had that in my mind. I would like to be back there.
So how long do you think it will take you from where you're at right now to get there?
So I don't know if anybody that's on a weight loss journey, I feel like you experience stalls. And I'm going to, actually when you interviewed me before, I wasn't necessarily feeling like I was at a stall, but guess what? I hit my stall.
Which we all do.
I know. I've been at this weight for, I feel like, gosh, probably close to 4 months now. But I guess the question is, like, am I doing what it takes to take care of myself? Like, that's got to be your first question. Like, am I doing everything that it takes to take care of myself? And because a lot of times if our weight has gotten out of control, it's because we put ourselves on the back burner. We made ourselves a very low priority in the daily list of things that we have to do, people we have to take care of, animals we have to take care of, things we have to take care of. And that's how we get out of control like that, right? So I'm trying to sort of reframe things. And I feel like if I'm asking myself, have I done everything it takes to put myself first? Like, I haven't. I haven't been. So getting my mind back into that mode probably will help movement, but I guess maybe it won't. I mean, maybe it will, maybe it won't. And that would probably be okay too, because I'm a lot healthier than I was when I started this journey. So that's a positive thing.
Yeah. So let's go back to when you started your journey. What was your, as I like to call it, your enough is enough moment? What was that moment that was like, okay, I got to do something? Talk about that.
Yeah, I've done so many different diets and things, and I thought that those were my enough is enough moments, right? But what I realized is that, like, I needed extra help. And what I had been doing before, I could do anything for 6 to 8 weeks, right? We can do anything. I really, truly, like, we can do anything for 6 to 8 weeks. And so, doing a, powder diet, things like that, you can do that for a short period of time. Doing like a boot camp where all you eat is chicken and raspberries and a sweet, half a sweet potato. Like, I've done that, like, and I lost 30 pounds, but it was like, I just was at the point where I was like, this has to shift. This has to change. There is no way that I want to live like this anymore. So
was it more of like the up and down and
I have done up and down. I mean, I would have told you back then too. I can gain and lose 50 pounds about there. I never could quite get under 200, but but it kept inching up. And it's like every time I would lose, and then if I gained again, I gained a little more. And then, you're kind of doing this.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think led me, and I don't remember if I talked to you about this, but I had like a surprise pregnancy and then a miscarriage, and I met my deductible very early in the beginning of the year. And so when I spoke with my endocrinologist about it, because I was like, maybe this is my thyroid messed up, or like, what did I do to, to have this miscarriage? Because we always, whenever we have anything tragic happen, we're always asking ourselves, like, what did I do to cause this, right? And she was like, you'd probably be a good candidate for this gastric sleeve surgery. And I was like, really? Like, I'm not, because I think a lot of people think I'm not big enough for that.
Yeah.
But she was like, look into it. And I had thought about it for like on and off the past couple of years, but I really didn't take action. And that was the point where I was like, you know what? I met my deductible. Why don't I take action? And actually the lady that did my eyebrows, I saw her today. And I remember talking to her about a couple months ago, what I did, because she was like, how did you lose all that weight? And so today she was like, it's funny, like, who comes out of the woodwork as they're watching you and they're like, maybe this could be something that I could do for myself. Maybe this could be something, maybe I could do this. Maybe this could change my life in the way that I want it to be changed. So she was asking me, like, you hear my Michigan accent coming through. She was like, what do I do to like take steps forward? And I was like, call your insurance company. That is what I would recommend everybody do first, is call the insurance company and see what parameters are required by them, and then go from there. Because a lot of times we're like, oh, it's going to be too expensive. I'm not going to be able to afford it. I'm not going to be a good candidate. And we're telling ourselves all of these stories, but we don't actually have any facts. So I recommend going that route if that's something that you're like, would this be for me? I don't know.
Yeah. So you mentioned trying a lot of different things prior to the decision to go down the surgery route. What were some of the different things that you tried, and why do you believe you could never quite get under that 200 pounds?
I felt like I've done a lot of different diets, right? So there's like a place here in Michigan that's called Medical Weight Loss Clinic. You know, they give you like a lot of powdered foods. I mean, you will lose weight if you follow the plan. I had done that a few times, but it's like as soon as you sort of wean off of that, like I would kind of go back to my old habits. And I don't know if I had enough consciousness of what I was doing or even enough knowledge about how little calories I really need in order to shift my weight in a big way. Because I think, I mean, I don't know, a lot of, basically, if you think about weight loss surgery, somebody was like, it's basically like doctor supervised starvation. Okay. So somebody said that and I was like, you know, it's kind of true. A lot of times people were like 700 calories a day, that's not enough to survive. And I'm like, I've been surviving on it for over a year.
Yeah.
You don't actually need what people think, but my labs are being checked. I take vitamins, I take supplements. I make sure I take protein shake. So there's at least or two a day to try to get my protein levels up. But I mean, you actually probably need less than, I mean, unless you're like trying to like be in a bodybuilding competition, like I would think you actually don't actually need that many calories, especially if you're somebody who has, you're off balance, you know. It's a different thing if you are a person of normal weight who's always been normal weight and you sort of know what works for you and you know what it takes to sort of maintain that. But I didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what the question was, but I go on tangents, obviously.
That's fine. As long as you're giving useful information, which you are, that is absolutely fine.
Yeah. So anyway, so I've done those powder diets. I did a boot camp, which was 2 6-week like boot camps where it was like I worked out 5 days a week, really hard, you know, HIIT training and all of that stuff. Along with a supervised diet. And I'm going to probably have to plug this in. I'm going to move you. I'm going to move you over here because I have a plug.
There we go.
And hopefully
That works.
I'm like, I have a social media business, so my phone is rarely fully charged. I did try to charge it, but okay. How's this?
That works.
All right. So, so I did that, but again, not sustainable for me. And that gym at the time, my littlest one was 2 years old. So I had to find a babysitter for him. It was really stressful. And to be honest, I felt like at the time, all I could focus on was my own diet. And so my family was feeling neglected at the time. And that caused some stress too, because it was like, well, that's fine what you're eating, but what am I eating?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't know, fix yourself something to eat. So with those stresses, that was not as successful, right? Because I didn't feel supported. It was very, very challenging. And then also I would say, as you lose weight, and even in that case with the boot camp, is that there's layers that are being shed. And if you don't deal with the emotional stuff that goes along with it, you're going to end up right back where you started.
Yeah.
It's just what happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Look, some of my friends are on this. So fun. Hi, guys. So I done that. I had pretty much done everything except for really wholeheartedly Weight Watchers. I pretty much have done all of those things. You know, South Beach, low carb, keto, but it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable forever to stay in that mode. It's just what you need is you need a plan that works for you, that you don't feel so stressed about that you can't do it.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, having something that, I always say consistency is the key to everything. And if you can't do it consistently, no matter how much results you get from it, once you fall off of it, you're going to go backwards.
Yes.
You know, and this journey is about sustainability. It's about, you know, having something that you can do for the rest of your life and not feel like it's a chore.
Yeah.
Regardless of what route you take. And I think, the one thing a lot of people that I want them to realize is that surgery in and of itself is a tool, and it's something to help you get started. It is not the end all be all. It is not it's the start of the journey. And there's so much work that you need to do after that point to continue to see results. And I think that's oftentimes where a lot of people get lost, is they don't get in that right mind frame. Even without surgery, people start the journey and they don't realize how much work they're actually going to have to do to get to where they want to be. And without that realization, they get started and they get discouraged. And knowing that, you got to realize up and downs are part of the journey.
Yes.
Regardless of how you choose, what route you choose to take, you're going to have up and downs. And that's part of it. No matter how good you're doing, there's going to be weeks where you're not going to see any weight loss.
Right.
There's going to be weeks where you don't do as good, and you do, or in your mind, you don't do as good, and you do get big weight loss changes. And that's just, some of it is no rhyme or reason. Some of it is just the way the human body is. But
Right.
The key is, again, if you enjoy doing something, you're going to continue doing it. If you don't, you're not. So, I think you found something that worked. You were honest with yourself on where you were and the results that you were getting, and you identified a solution and you took action. And that's the main thing, is, being real and being honest. And I think you said it earlier, when being honest with why you are where you are. If you're at a stall, like, am I really doing everything that I could be doing to move the needle forward? And oftentimes what I find with my clients is the answer is no. Sometimes we're just not doing everything that we could be doing. And I think that's a huge key to your journey, as well as, you were honest all the way through about what needed to happen, and you took action. So, I know that if you continue to do that, you're going to continue to see the success that you've been seeing, plus more.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that being really, really honest with yourself and conscious about your behaviors. A lot of the behaviors that we take on, whether you're talking about weight loss or not, I mean, I could just talk about in life. Right?
Exactly. Everything.
But if you're not aware of what you're doing, then you are a victim of habit, and you are going to see repeated patterns over and over and over again in your life. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. But if you need a change, or you're ready for a change, you've got to get really, really honest about what do you really want? What do you really envision for your life? Why are you envisioning that for your life? Can you get in that space and in that energy of that vision? And when you do, that's when you're going to see those results.
Yeah.
Yes, patience. Oh my gosh. My friend Lottie is on here, and she's a huge weight loss inspiration. Actually, you should talk to her. She's pretty amazing. But
Lottie, reach out to me. DM me so we can talk.
She's amazing. And actually, she's lost over 100 pounds. She did not use surgery as a tool for herself. And she was a huge inspiration for me for changing my life. And I'm going to get emotional. I'm not going to get too emotional, but a huge inspiration for me. And you do have to be patient with it. You do have to be patient with yourself and be kind to yourself. That's what this whole journey is about. What is going to be the most kind thing you can do to yourself, for yourself, and to do those things. So, yeah.
So what made you decide to take the route that you took? Talk to us about the decision-making process.
So when when my doctor was like, you should look into this, I was like, okay, fine, I'll look into it. And I thought in my head, this is not going to be for me. I'll look into it, but I probably could try harder. Maybe if I try something else, it's like that whole, it's almost like I beat myself up for, I had this concept that I was lazy or something. And that's why I was in this position. But I so my doctor recommended that you go to an informational meeting prior to any consultation that he will book. And I went into the informational meeting, and then when he explained why the surgery works, how it works, what were the risks, what were the, his results, as far as success rates, what you can expect as far as weight loss. And I'll tell you this, when I first went, I was like, how much weight loss can you expect from, I had the gastric sleeve surgery, so I did not have bypass. And he said, you can expect to lose 60% of the weight that you have to lose. But that would put me at like 195, I think. So I've done better than, you know, what I could expect. I mean, I still put a lot of work in to myself. And I will have to continue doing that. That doesn't get to stop just because, you know, you have surgery.
Yeah.
But when I went to that, I sat down and I really checked in with my gut, and I was like, oh, this procedure is for me. It's exactly for me. It is for a person exactly like me. I have thyroid, hypothyroid. If anybody's like, I'm as a nurse. So I don't work as a nurse anymore, but I was a nurse for 10 years. So, you know, hypothyroidism, polycystic ovary syndrome. I had a lot of sort of strikes against me. As far as, you know, like ability to really release that weight. My body likes to conserve energy. Okay. It's like really happy doing that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I went to that meeting and I was like, oh, I just had that knowingness, you know, when you just like know something's right. And that was the feeling that I had. So I decided to press forward with it.
So what recommendations or what advice would you give to someone that's considering going down that route? What are some of the first things? I know you mentioned one thing, you know, with the insurance company, but what are some of the other things that they should consider and steps they should take?
So I'll tell you what I did. And I probably thought about it for 3 years on it, you know, kind of on and off. But I found some people like me that are sharing their story that I mean, listen, if you guys have any questions, I'm an open book. I will talk, you know, we can call on the phone or we can talk on social media, about my experience, or, you know, what questions you have about everybody's experience is different. I mean, obviously, but I had seen some of my friends go through it and they were, you know, no regrets, really. I mean, they would have done it again in a heartbeat, and that's what they told me. And so that was got a phone call. That was helpful for me to hear other people's successes, putting myself in that position of being successful, because that's why people share their stories. We don't do that to brag. We don't do that to say, look at me, look at me. We do that to inspire other people to change their life. Yes, support. So a lot of what I said, support is key. And actually that would be the second thing I would say. You need people. You're going to need people if you're making a huge change in your life. I don't know if that's going to mean a therapist, you know, a friend, an energy healer. There's so many different modalities, you know, and having like a crew, you need your crew, because like you said, there's ups and downs, and who's going to help you stay consistent? Who's going to help you remind you of who you really are when you're at your lowest? Who's going to remind you, you know, put a mirror up and say, look how amazing you're doing. Keep going. You're my people too. And so that is so, so, so important to start constructing that if you don't have it, right? You have to construct that. Some people that you think will be supportive may not be supportive because they're afraid that you're going to fly away. Okay. They're afraid that you're going to change and then you're not going to be vibing. Right. And then there's going to be other people that you didn't know would be so supportive that are, and, you know, you can feel really rejoice in that and have fun with that. So I would say that. So yeah, find out stories and things like that. You could talk to your doctor about it. It's funny. One of my friends saw her doctor, and I know her stats and stuff like that. And her doctor was like, you're not big enough for this surgery. And I was like, there's a lot of old school thoughts about what type of people are candidates for bariatric surgery. Like, you don't have to be on death's door. You know, you don't have to be my 600-pound life in order to be eligible and for it to be a good decision for you potentially. So, you know, I would just say start doing like research and reaching out. Don't just like read stuff, like start like really finding out true information is what I would say. And you know, and like go, you know, email the clinic or, you know, see about going to a meeting or something like that. Or there's a lot of like weight loss surgery support groups. You probably could find one and go and hang out in there and see like, you know, is this sort of, you know, like get a feel for like what people's experiences have been. Like, the reason those support groups exist, right?
Yeah. So let's back up a little bit, because I know you, when we talked on the phone, you said when you'd gotten married, you'd gained about 100 pounds.
I did.
And you said leading up to you having kids, you said things got really out of control. So what did you mean by really out of control?
Well, I think it was actually more after the kids.
Okay.
And I think it has to do with my lack of self-care. And it's hard when they're real little. I mean, it's hard when you're up all night long and it's just, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have like little kids, toddlers, you're in the trenches. It is hard, right? But my issue is, and I realized this along the way, I realized this because with the surgery, you know, it makes your actual stomach smaller. Okay. And so instead of eating my feelings, and that's what I was doing, is when I would get upset, I would eat, and it would like numb me out, calm me down. And I'm not able to do that anymore. And so it just got out of control, you know, grabbing stuff through drive-thrus, you know, being like, oh my gosh, I need sugar and caffeine, I'm going to go have a Frappuccino, whatever. And just not having like a conscious way of eating, or like a way of eating that's going to nourish me. It was a way of eating that was trying to numb my emotions. And so that was, and that worked for a while, except I had like ridiculous weight gain, and then I had all these problems.
Yeah. So I know you said there was a point where you were vegan for about 9 months.
Yeah.
And you didn't lose a lot of weight, but you felt better.
I did.
But you also said you felt like your body was working against you. What did you mean by your body was working against you?
Well, I mean, this is what I would say. So a lot of times when I make a big decision for myself, I try to ask myself questions and then hear my answers. And this is a practice, like, you know, you can do like in a meditation, that type of thing, in a quiet space. And it's sort of like your intuition talking to you. Okay. So at the time I was like, I don't know what to do now. I still am at, like, I was like 275 pounds. I'm like, what do? I was like, maybe I should try veganism. Maybe this is the problem, is all of the, you know, animal products. What it did was I probably lost about 15 pounds, maybe 20, but, and I started working out with a trainer at that time too. But your body wants to be at the highest weight it's ever been, right? When you change that top number, you're setting yourself, that's how obesity works. You're setting yourself, like setting that barometer up a notch every time that happens, when you reach your highest weight. Your body, because of just evolutionary survival, right? It's like, okay, in case of starvation, you know, it would be great to have this extra fuel to use it, but we're not starving because we live in the modern world that we do. So, but you're set up for that. And that's what I mean. I felt like my body was working against me. It was like, you know, my body wanted to be at the highest weight possible. What I think, changing my diet to vegan, I did feel better. I did have more energy. And also like I said, I have PCOS and I got pregnant, which was like wild, like accident, you know? And so my body obviously was healing itself through that diet, but I did not lose weight on it. Or a significant amount of weight. Yeah. And I don't know if that was like, probably just because of the sugar, the fruit.
Mhm. Yeah. So were you discouraged by the lack of weight loss? And if so, how did you deal with it? And if not, how would you help someone else deal with discouragement? What advice would you give to them?
I don't know if at the time I was discouraged because everything was like happening so fast. Like, because like I said, I got pregnant and then I had that miscarriage 10 weeks later. And it's like everything was like moving in fast motion. So I wasn't really discouraged, but I was like, oh, maybe this isn't doing what I really wanted it to do, which was, I was like, I want to lose 100 pounds. Like I wanted to lose 100 pounds, right? So as far as being discouraged, I would say, again, you have to have your people. You have to create a community that is uplifting to you, that is supportive of you, that wants the best for you, not the best for them, the best for you, and like a positive environment. Okay, if your best buddies are Debbie Downers and are really struggle a lot and have like a lot of negativity, you're gonna be right there with them.
Mhm.
So really think about who are you letting into your inner circle and what are you cultivating? What kind of culture and environment are you cultivating for yourself? Is it the kindest thing, right? Is it the kindest thing? Is it the most compassionate thing to yourself? Okay. So that's the first thing I would say. I mean, sort of like what you said, it's about the consistency. You're going to have ups and downs. Your job is to handle your expectations in a way that is, again, encouraging to yourself so that you can maintain your hope, you can maintain your vision for yourself and really focus on that versus, like, do I wish I was 155 pounds right now? Of course I do. But so what? Like, I'm still on my path. I'm still doing the things that make me feel good. I'm still working out 4 or 5 times a week. I've been misbehaving as far as making poor choices recently. I'm going to change that back to something that is more compassionate and kind and loving toward myself. So those are the goals. I mean, that's how you live your best life, right?
Yeah.
It's by making really good choices that make you feel really good, and not in the short term,
Yeah.
but in the longer term.
So do you regret not starting this part of your journey sooner in terms of the surgery, and do you regret not doing it sooner?
Um, I just don't know how it. I'm not really. I don't. I don't like to live with a lot of regret anyway. Like, I'm not really a backwards looker too much, where I'm like, oh, I wish I would have, shoulda, woulda, coulda kind of girl. But it just worked out the way that I feel like that it was supposed to work out. It all happened sort of because of what led up to it. Like, it sort of opened itself up at that point. I just can't imagine having done it sooner. But I'm glad I didn't wait. And I'm glad I didn't postpone it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I'm also glad, and this might, I don't know if this would trigger anybody or not, but at the time I was like, do I want to try to get pregnant again right away? Or do I want to like put myself first and get my health under control? Cause I'm 38. So, I mean, kind of, at that age that you're like, are we going this route or not?
Yeah.
And I chose myself. And, so, I mean, that was the gift of that miscarriage, to be honest.
Hmm. Yeah. So what do you say to people that think that surgery is either the easy way out or it's cheating, or what do you think about those thoughts?
Um, I think that I don't think it's easy.
Hmm.
I think it definitely helped me be successful. And I'm of the school of kind of like whatever it takes, like
Hmm.
whatever it takes to help you reach your goal. Not everything has to be hard for it to be like I don't know how to explain it, but like, I think a lot of people have the mindset of like, if it's not really, really hard, then you didn't deserve it or something like that. No. Sometimes things can be sort of easy in the sense that it flows. It's not like a huge struggle. And this tool helped me retrain my body and retrain my brain. It helped me lose enough weight so that I could get physically active. I mean, I cannot tell you how much less pain I have that I didn't realize I was harboring or like living with every day that I don't have now. Like, that's incredible. Like, I had no idea like that I could walk around all day and my feet not be aching. I mean, I didn't even know that was a possibility in life, because I was like, oh, my feet, I have just horrible feet. Well, maybe, but also I was carrying a lot of extra weight, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't really worry about people that say it's the easy way out. Like, it's not really my concern. My concern is that my audience or my friends or the people in my life that mean something to me, if they want to make a change, that they know what their options might be. And not everybody is a candidate for surgery. And that's okay too, you know. And there might be people who are candidates for surgery who don't feel like that's their route. Like, in their gut, they're like, no, this isn't for me.
And that was at one point. And at one point you said that you thought it wasn't for you.
Yeah, but I didn't have information. And I don't think, and that's okay. And maybe it wasn't for me at first. Maybe I wanted to exhaust the other options that were more natural, you know, that didn't include anesthesia. It didn't include, you know, surgery. But, and I did those things. So I felt confident going into it that this was my next step.
Yeah. Well, I also remember you also said that, you know, you had to have your, I think the way you said it was, you had to have your head right to be successful with it.
Yes.
So I think that's oftentimes with a lot of people is maybe it is an option, but maybe you're not mentally ready to do all the work. Because for most people, there's a process before the day that you decide that this is what I want to do to the day of the surgery. So you may have this 6-month window of time where you have to commit to doing certain things in order for your doctor to approve the surgery.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, like one of my clients, you know, we were talking about having to do like a liquid diet. And I said, look, if you can't commit to doing this liquid diet for 2 weeks, you are not mentally ready for this surgery. So I think a lot of people, even though it could be an option, they're just not mentally ready to do the work. What do you think about that?
That is so wise. Like, I mean, I guess I didn't think to put it that way, but absolutely. And actually, even when I'm in these Facebook groups, you know, these bariatric Facebook groups and things like that, and people are like, I'm really struggling during my 1-week liquid diet. And I'm like, they're like, what if I cheat? I'm like, why would you cheat? You're 1 week till surgery. What's the big deal? Like, you're fine. You're okay. You know, but it's because of habit and feeling not having, it's like you're taking something away that was your security blanket, right? But you're not going to have it after surgery either, honey, because you're going to be on a clears for a week. Probably you're going to be on, you know, fulls for 2 to 3 weeks, puree for a week, maybe soft foods, and you're eating like this much food. And so that tool, I mean, your food as a tool, it's out, it's gone. You don't have it anymore. And so if you're not mentally ready to sort of power through it, you're going to sabotage yourself. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have dumping. You're going to regret putting things in your mouth because your body is going to tell you. It's like, and now I'm at the point where, I mean, I still do not drink pop. But I mean, I could eat anything. You know what I mean? Like, I can eat anything. Like, my body's like, whatever, that's cool. Whereas some people really reject certain foods and things like that. You don't really know until after surgery, like how your body is going to process food differently or anything like that. But you have to be mentally ready and like, and then be checking yourself and put that mirror up and be honest with yourself. That's why it's so hard, because because most people through life, they don't ever have to look in the mirror. And what I mean by that is like the mirror of like, who are you? What are you doing? The mirror of honesty, right? Not the mirror, like the actual mirror.
Physical mirror, yeah.
So, you know, that's why it's so hard. It's like, you have to be like, why am I behaving this way? Why do I want to put food in my mouth? Why did I, you know, like, here's an example. Like today, I was like in line at Target, and I was like, oh, you know, that candy looks really good, you know, and then being like, really, Katrina, like, no, you don't need the candy. Like, you're fine. Everything's okay. Take a deep breath. You know, and choose to be kind to yourself. That's not the kind thing to do. So, you know, there's a lot of mental work that has to be done. I don't care how you lose weight. Because weight is most of the time an emotional issue. It is not just a physical thing. There's so much emotional and energetic and spiritual and all of this stuff that's all tied up together. And then mental. It all works together, and you have to be aware of it.
So I know you said one of the things you realized why you weren't losing weight, and you said that part of it was because you weren't speaking your truth.
Yeah.
What did you mean specifically by speaking your truth, and why was that an important realization to come to?
Well, I think that it has to do with being in alignment and being being myself, right? So there was a point where I heard somebody say that, like, when people gain an inordinate amount of weight, it's a lot of times to create a boundary, right? It creates actual physical space. If you come and hug me and my stomach's out to here, when you hug me, there's a lot of space in between us in a way, right? And so it's creating a physical boundary. It maybe people don't talk to me as much because I'm not as good looking. Maybe I'm not welcoming in, you know, conversations. People kind of ignore you. I mean, I didn't really realize how ignored you are when you are overweight until now. But I was like, that's weird. That person opened the door for me and smiled and said, have a good day. Like, that wouldn't have happened before, you know? I didn't realize it. But so those boundaries sometimes need to be put up because you're not willing to call them in with your voice, right? You're not willing to speak up for yourself and put yourself first. Put that intuition first. Put your feelings first. Putting you first. And when you don't listen to that, that's like where the trouble starts, is not speaking what's true for you, sharing your feelings, validating your feelings, and not being horrible about boundaries. I mean, who here was horrible with boundaries? Right here, right? And I know that other people watching this experience that as well. I just, you know, and so I think that once I started speaking my truth, I mean, I felt more aligned. I felt more happy. I felt more confident. I felt like I was honoring myself, and that was helpful in my process.
So I also remember you saying that after surgery, you realized that you had to deal with your issues, and using food to turn off your emotions was one of the realizations that you had to come to. So how has your relationship with food changed now?
So sometimes I wish I could just use it to turn off my emotions. It doesn't work as well, although it absolutely, like when I was saying I haven't been like really great about my diet lately, it's because if I'm feeling stress, I'm not dealing with those things. I'm not shifting my life in ways that support that. And so I'm using food again, right? So I would say, like, I'm still adjusting the relationship. It's not like, oh, now it's done. Now I never have to think about it again. I still experience hunger. That it's probably not as strong as it was, but I mean, like, I woke up last night my husband woke me up really early in the morning because I heard the shower going, and I was like, God, I'm really hungry. I rolled over and went back to sleep. So, I mean, I still experience those physical hunger pangs. I do fill up faster. if I eat the right foods, I fill up very fast. If I eat the wrong foods, I can eat a lot of popcorn and it's like, it doesn't fill me up. But if I eat like chicken, legumes, like vegetables, things like I fill up really fast. So that's using my tool in a positive way. Like that's helping me to keep my calories low.
So what advice would you give to someone that is currently using food as a coping mechanism and they want to shift away from that? Because the reality is, in life, we're going to have so many downs and ups that even one of the sayings they say is that you can't out-train a bad diet. So I don't care how much exercise you do. If you don't control the way you eat, you're never going to see what you want to see.
Right.
So we know that regardless if surgery is an option or not, you need to change the way you eat.
Yes.
So what advice would you give somebody to start that part of their journey of changing the way they eat? What are the first few things that they should do to change the way they eat?
So what works best one thing I would say is not every single diet is going to work for every single person. Okay. So I know some people like count different macros and things like that, they're like, okay, my goal is to have 70 grams of protein a day or 90 grams of protein a day, or my goal, or keto works really well for me, or low carb works really well for me. It depends on where you are in your journey. You may have to play around with different ways of eating to see how your body reacts. Okay. Yeah. There is not a one size fits all situation here. It's just the reality of it. That being said, if you constantly have a lot of glycogen and sugar, carbs in your diet, you're gonna use that first, and you're not gonna burn fat. So if you really want, that's just the reality of it. Like that's why when you have surgery, they have you do a liquid diet. It's not just to test your metal and see if you can cut it. It's to shrink your liver and get those glycogen scores down so that they can do it with laparoscopy, right? Versus have to cut you wide open, right? I mean, I just have 5 little tiny scars on my stomach. Like it's great. And less risky. That being said, so I would say I would really take note of what you're putting in your body. Start food journaling. It sucks. I know it's a pain. It's not convenient, and you have to be honest with yourself. But when I first saw that surgeon, and he was like, okay, cause he was like, I would like you to lose at least 25 pounds. I don't remember what it was. It was like 25 pounds or something. And I was like, okay, yeah. All right. So I started charting my food. I was eating 1,400 calories a day. I was eating really clean. I was walking for at least an hour every day. I still lost maybe 2 pounds that first month and 3 pounds the next month. I like to hold on to weight. And I mean, 1,400 calories for a lot of people is not very much. And so really be honest about what you're putting in your body. And also, I have a nursing background. I kind of understand nutrition. I mean, if you don't have a nutrition background, or you really don't have a lot, I'm shocked at what people don't know. I'm shocked at what people don't know. They're like, well, I only ate this much of X, Y, and Z. And it's like, but there's no nutritional value in that. You're not getting any vitamins or minerals in that. You're not feeding your body in a way that is going to help your body heal. And that's what this is. I'm healing my body. And you heal it through what you eat and what you don't eat. Yeah. And so I would again, I mean, educate yourself. Don't just read one thing on the internet and think it's the law. Because you can talk to a million different trainers or nutritionists, and everybody's going to have a different take on things. You're going to have to figure out what works for your own body. Yeah. And you're going to probably also know this. I'm so bossy. I'm like, also know this. You probably are going to have to switch things up, because our body, you can do, for me, I could do a keto diet for a little while, but eventually my body's going to catch on to it and be like, okay, that's cool. But we're still going to hold on to this weight, because what if starvation happens, and what if, there's a famine? Yeah. Okay. And so you have to kind of trick it into and shift it and do different things and know that that's okay and that's normal, and that the ups, like, you know, again, those stalls can be normal, and that doesn't mean that you're a, you know, we attach so many feelings about ourselves and our worthiness to our weight, and it's such a mistake to do that, because but we all, I mean I fall victim to that even just now, because I'm like, oh, it's been 4 months, I haven't lost. Will I ever lose again? I always ask, I'm always like, will I ever lose weight again? And then I usually, once I do that and I get back on track, then I will. So
yeah. So what are some of the other things you're currently doing to continue your journey? Exercise.
Yeah.
What are you currently doing?
So all right, my surgeon said that I could start working out 3 months after surgery. There was another surgeon that I followed on YouTube who I really liked, and he recommended to wait for 6 months. I waited for 6 months. I wanted to make sure my eating was all under control, because when you add a lot of exercise and your eating is not good, you're going to be more hungry. Yeah. And you're not going to be able to, I mean, I know, like when I used to train, and that's why training didn't work, because I was like starving and I just couldn't deal. I was so hungry because I was using, you know, trying to build muscle and, you know, using so many calories and all of that. So my eating needed to be under control first. Food first, kitchen first, right? But I started working out Orange Theory, and I really like that. I really like that workout because it's always different. It's sort of like having a trainer without the fees. It's not as, I mean, for me. And because it keeps me accountable, because you have to register for the classes. If you don't go to class, you get charged. Yeah. And then also, like, I'll register for a class. This is like a game I kind of play with myself, because it's like I don't always want to go, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna, like, if I feel like, okay, I really should go, I go in and I register for the class and be like, why did I sign up for that? And then I'll still go. Yeah. So it kind of like gets me there. And I enjoy it. And I mean, I'm really excited, actually. I made a post about this. Like, I never could run. Like, I did a mile in 9:59, and I was so stinking excited that I was able to do that. And then through that, what else did I do? You know what? I booked a 5K. I did like the Disney Princess 5K, and I booked that actually before surgery, because I was like, you know what? I'm going to have that, you know, plan for the future, plan these things out for you, like knowing that you're going to be able to do it. And, you know, I didn't really train for the 5K, but I was at Orange Theory, but it wasn't like I trained for the 5K, like, but it was like, okay, I'm going to do this and I can do it. And then the more that you realize you can do it, it's like the more encouraged you are to do more. I did do Disney. I loved it. And so I would recommend that, like, plan out, like, do, like, anybody can do a 5K. Go schedule one with your kids. You know what I mean? They'll encourage you through it. So that's what I mean. That's what I'm doing now. I really want to get into yoga a little bit more. So I'm considering like going to some hot yoga and stuff like that, just to, cause you know, 38, I want to I got to feel like nice and flexible. So, and incorporate kind of different stuff in there, but Orange Theory for me, it's like HIIT training, right? So you've got like some treadmills, some rowing, and then weights. So it's like a good overall thing for me. Yeah. And it's fun. So, and it keeps me accountable.
So we've talked about where you've been. We've talked about where you're at right now. And we sort of talked about where you're going, but what's the next level in your journey? Like, what is this journey inspired you to do that maybe you weren't inspired to do prior to the journey? So I'm in the process, although it's been a little bit stalled. A lot of things have been stalling lately. That's okay. But I'm in the process of writing a book, and I'm really excited about sort of my journey that I'm taking right now, and then incorporating that into help for other people if they want to shift their life, and ways for them to do that, and really that self-care piece and putting themselves first, because that's what me choosing to do surgery was. That is what me making it a non-negotiable that I work out 4 times a week is non-negotiable. I literally will go crazy if I don't do it. Like I literally start to lose my mind. Yeah. You know, there's
So that is a big piece for me. I'm working with a meditation teacher right now. And so again, that's helping me like tap into my intuition, my inner knowing, my sort of, my sense of self, my feelings, helping again with this whole journey with, getting to know myself again, and being the best person that I can be, and being happy, and being grateful, and all of those pieces. And the book, my original idea, and it may shift from here, because again, like nothing is set in stone ever, right? So until it's in print, I guess, is the idea of like, what if you put yourself first for 30 days? How could that shift your life? What does that look like, and how does it shift your life? And I'm hoping to have some test subjects and tell stories about how it did or did not shift their life, and what, and sort of look into that, because again, so many times we just put ourselves, we're last because everybody else is first. What other people think about me is more important than what I think about me. Their needs are more important than mine. And what happens is we get lost in the shuffle, and then we're like, why am I not where I wanted to be? Because you made yourself a non-priority, So what would happen if you just shifted it and did what you needed first? And what my guess is that you'll have more energy to still take care of the things that you need to take care of, but you've sort of filled your own cup, right? Up on the front end, so that on the back end, you're not suffering through the experience. So I'm working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Reiki practitioner as well. I also have an online makeup business that I love. So I love coaching other people on that. And like I said, I'm a pretty busy mom too. So I put all those things together, and that's what I'm doing right now.
So the last question I like to ask everybody before we end these interviews, I think it's a pretty important question, is what are you hoping to accomplish by sharing your story? So what I hope to accomplish by sharing my story is to help others to open their mind up to the possibilities for their own life. I know that I've inspired some people, again, who are not weight loss surgery candidates, but they have been inspired to do what they know, their inner knowing, their intuition has told them that they should do for themselves, right? And I know that I've inspired people to follow that knowing and to trust that inner voice of theirs. And so that's what I'm hoping to do. Also, I mean, I don't want to take total credit, but like I've inspired some people to go on a weight loss surgery journey, because again, for a long time I was like, I don't really think I'm really a candidate. It's probably not for me, but if circumstances had been different, I mean, I could have done it earlier. You know what I mean? And why put your life on hold? What are you waiting for? And really examine what you are waiting for. And, but for me, it really has to do with wanting others to live their best lives. Like that's what we're here to do. We're all here to help each other have the best experience possible, the most full experience possible. You can't do that when you're trapped in your side, literally trapped inside of your body. It's very hard to live your best life. I'm just saying. Yeah. So before we get on out of here, give everybody your Instagram, so if they have any questions, they can reach out to you. For sure. So my Instagram is Katrina Giska, KatrinaGiska. You also can find me on Facebook, if you prefer that. But if you have any questions about anything, you feel free to reach out to me. Like, I love meeting new people online. I meet the coolest people online, just like you. And so I love connecting with like-minded individuals. So if you want to collab or bounce any ideas off me or anything, I am here for you. There you go, guys. So action, action, action. Don't let this interview go to nothing. Take one key from it tonight, guys, and start to move forward immediately. And we guarantee that you will have absolutely amazing success, just like Katrina. So, guys, Thank you for joining us on another awesome episode of Weight Loss Warriors. We are about to get on out of here. Guys, if you missed any of the past episodes, head on over to youtube.com/fitnessmotivation4u2. That's fitness motivation, the number 4, the letter U, the number 2. Guys, that is it for tonight. This is Mr. Fitness, the body transformation specialist, and Katrina signing off. And as always, where there's a will, there's a way. And we hope you have an amazingly great day. Till next time.
Thank you.